Welcome to my garden. I'm Denise Defined, where I share gardening tips and travel tips and just life hacks, really, from my garden. So, for those of you who are new, welcome. For those of you who have been here before, welcome back. Um, I garden in Oxnard, coastal Oxnard, Zone 10A. I am on the second floor of my condo. I live in a condo, so basically my building is cut into four. I own a fourth of the building. I'm upstairs with a south facing view. So, what I'm going to do today is give you a garden tour, and we're going to have a conversation about some lessons that I've learned, and I'm going to share some information with you. So, I'm going to turn the camera. As you can see, I am in the air. And if I had to guess, I would say I'm probably 20 feet in the air. So my garden consists of all of these balconies, all the way down. I garden in my greenhouse. I garden in pots. I garden in grow bags. I garden in raised planters. I garden in green stalks. I garden in pretty much whatever vessel I can hold soil, fertilizer, and water and plant material. And that's how we get going. I'm also conscious of my expenses. The whole reason to start growing some of my own food was so that I could kind of manage some of my costs. And my household really is only me, but my son lives with me. He's an adult and he's kind of off on his own all the time. So I'm really just growing enough food and provisions for one person. So the way that I began was I started thinking it's unrealistic for me in the air with no water and no soil to be able to replace all of the food that I purchase. That was an unrealistic goal, and I like to try and set realistic goals for myself. And so what I ended up doing instead was I started thinking about the things that I spend money on that I could produce here, and how would I go about doing that. And where we are right now is I'm finishing up the very first season. I started with a cucumber plant that I grew from seed and a watermelon plant. Don't come for me. I know that's kind of racist, but I did. I was growing watermelon. And it was really invigorating. I don't know, I just felt like I was getting in touch with my agrarian ancestors who did this for a living. If you can call it a living. Some of them were slaves, and so it really wasn't a living at all. But my family comes from agrarian roots, and so I just felt like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. And so what I'm going to do is give you a garden tour, and then after the garden tour I'm going to share some information with you, and then I am no good at editing, so I'm just going to put this up there and we're going to see where it lands. So we'll start. I call this garden my front garden, and then the other garden is my back garden, because essentially this is my front yard. So determinate tomato plant that I bought at the last possible second. Like, the big box store was trying to get rid of them. I also have some rosemary growing in a pot. I have this raised planter. Actually, I have two of them. And this one I'm growing green and purple kohlrabi, or white and purple kohlrabi. And I'm growing arugula, and I'm growing from corms. So I have 3 or 4 corms in this bed that I just showed you, and I have a whole pot on my back balcony with more corms. I'm also growing blackberries, because blackberries just happen to be my favorite berry. Don't tell strawberry. I'm trying not to hurt their feelings. But essentially what I did with these blackberries, and this is a sunflower volunteer. Not sure where it came from, but we're going to let it get a little bit bigger, and then we're going to up someplace someplace else. The blackberries, so because I'm in zone 10A and we don't get cold, you have to vernalize the seeds or stratify the seeds. It depends on which me search you check. And what I found is that that means that you have to put it in the refrigerator and you have to trick the seeds into believing that winter has come and gone and it's okay for them to start to grow. And so I had these seeds in the refrigerator on a paper towel that I misted and kept moist, and it was in the refrigerator for 3 months. So yeah, I kept it in there for 3 months, but the result is, when you look, you see all of these blackberry plants that are all growing in this one 15-pound bag. And I will share these plants with my friends, but I'll grow some of them because blackberries are my favorite. So I have thornless ones in there, and I have, I guess, ones with thorns. I don't know. Over here, I have some fennel. The reason this fennel is sequestered in its own pot is because I read that putting fennel in with other plants is a good, it's good for your ecosystem, but the downside is it has some kind of chemical, and tell me in the comments below what that chemical is, but apparently it makes it hard for other plants to grow in soil that's shared by fennel. So I sequestered the fennel in its own pot. I have purple basil and regular basil. I got both of these just from my local nursery, and they had gone to seed. So what I did was I trimmed off the very tip top that was healthy, and I rooted it in a glass with some mycorrhizal root stimulator. And when they had enough roots, I planted them in these little pots. It's past basil season right now, but I wanted to overwinter this basil if I could, because I truly enjoy the taste of this basil, and it really elevates the taste of my cooking. And so what I did was put it here. We're gonna see how long I can keep it alive. I come through periodically and pinch off. It looks like it wants to go to seed because the season has passed, but I'm still keeping it alive. I'm growing a whole pot of onions, also in a 15-gallon grow bag. And these, I have white and red onions. These started from bulbs, and I'm looking forward to having that. I'm growing in my greenhouse. So I have a very small greenhouse, and in my greenhouse I'm growing pineapple and peppers. I'm overwintering some peppers in here, and then I have my little cotto tree, and as you can see, there's some condensation in my greenhouse right now, but I'm not going to open it up because I want to preserve the moisture, because the pineapples tend to like it. And I'll open it up for a little, but not for a long period, because I don't want it to mold, but I don't want it to mold. And so what I'm about to show you now, I have 2 green stalks. Yes, I am addicted to green stalks too, but I can't keep buying them. 1, I don't have any place to put them, and 2, when I buy them, the green stalk itself only takes up 2 feet in diameter. But as you can see, if you're successful, your plants will grow outside of the green stalk. Here I have my brassicas. This is my fall garden planted. I call this green stalk, which is beautiful black, I call it Noir. And Noir has in it, it is a 5-tier green stalk original, and my fall garden in here. So I have companion plants like borage and chamomile and onion, and I have leafy greens like turnips and lettuce and bok choy, and then I have brassicas. I have cabbage, Brussels, and broccoli, all in this green stalk. And so it has 5 tiers with 6 pockets, so that's 30 10-inch pockets, and in those 30 10-inch pockets, they are all full and all growing right now, fall and winter things. Over here, I have a stand which I use to house my plants. Now, as you can see, this super sad basil was the mother plant for this basil plant. I let it go to seed. It looks terrible on purpose because I want to harvest these seeds. The way that I see it, this plant has been through all of it. So if I can save seeds from this plant and grow another basil that is as hardy as this basil was, then I'll be winning. Below here, I have blueberries growing. Again, I had to trick the blueberries into believing it was fall, and these blueberries were stuck to a paper towel. So one of these plants had paper towel. I couldn't tell what was going on, so I just planted the whole paper towel and they came up. So a whole lot of the blackberries did come up, but the blueberries, I only got just a few blueberry bushes that came up, and so I'm going to love on them and have blueberries. I am also growing jalapenos. For some of these jalapenos, I'm going to eat them fresh, but some I'm going to roast and make into a chipotle powder. And then I'm going the cilantro that is gone to seed because the pollinators like it, and then turn this whole bed over again. I stopped by my local feed and seed and picked up some new seedlings, Brussels sprout seedlings, and these are going to be purple, which is pretty dope. And I have down there that I'm going to plant garlic in, so it's all ready. Another 2 or 3 weeks on the stratification of my garlic bulbs before I can plant them. So I'm going to put some garlic in there, and I'm probably going to put garlic in the pot that has those other tomatoes, the determinate tomatoes in it, because those I should be able to harvest right around the time that I have to plant the garlic. This little, which isn't so little, has in it all kinds of things. I've got artichokes, I've got nasturtium, I've got carrots and onions and calendula, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's a nice planter with a whole lot of stuff in it, and I feel pretty good about it. So artichokes, I do kind of like artichokes, but I don't know that I love artichokes. But what I do love are beautiful flowers, and I just think that they're God's glory, and He is sharing them with me. And so if you let the artichoke go to seed, it gets this beautiful iridescent purple flower, according to one of the influencers that I watch, Kevin Espiritu. Shout out to you from Epic Gardening, Epic Homestead, Gardening with Jacques. You too, I watch you too. And so basically I was inspired by Kevin because Kevin has been gardening in tough situations, and now he's at his beautiful homestead, which he's using as the Epic headquarters, and I'm not really sure where he's going to end up going, but I wish him all the best. And I liked his great big flower. It was so pretty, and whether I eat the artichokes or let them go to seed, I'm happy to have this plant. One of the things I learned early on was how expensive fertilizer and compost can be. It isn't that it's cost prohibitive, but what it is more than I'm willing to pay. So paying the big box store for earthworm castings felt like a bridge too far. So in my micro homestead, I'm actually making my own compost. And so what I have going on in here right now is I'm on tray my compost that I have been feeding to my worms, and it's not quite ready yet. It's still a little wet, but we're getting there. So the worms have already eaten their way through one of the towers, or one of the trays, and I put another tray in there. So now we're on 2 trays. The second tray, not altogether ready. So what I do is my kitchen scraps, I have an indoor electric composter that I use, and it's not truly compost. Anybody that has used one knows it's not truly compost, but what I use it for is keeping my kitchen waste or repurposing my kitchen waste, because what was happening was my son was not taking out the garbage as often as I wanted him to, and so adding that electric one reduced the amount of stinky food in my trash, and it allowed me to take the organics that I was letting go to waste, which I'm getting better at that now, and repurpose it. And so I bought power so that I can do that, so that I can make the compost. And so essentially what I do is I take the electric compost from out of the kitchen, and once it's done I put it in here and I use it as worm food. Someday I will fill this container up with my very own compost, but today is not that day. So that is it for my front yard garden. Now let's do the backyard garden. So now I'm going to show you my backyard garden. So this is my backyard. My backyard is part 2 of my garden in the sky, and I'm growing all kinds of things here. So this little tower here, originally I was trying to compare this to a green stalk. I got this off of Amazon. It was very reasonably priced, and at the time I was brand new and didn't know much about vertical planting and vertical gardening, just what my research told me. And I planted it out, and it is a wonderful little tower. The pockets are only 6 inches. 6-inch pockets can get you some herbs. That's it. It's good for shallow rooted things. It is not a replacement or a comparison to the green stalk. It just isn't. But what it is great for what it is, right? So it is good for herbs. It is good for strawberries. And so I took all of the strawberries that were struggling on the front yard garden and put them in here. Now, fun fact, I live in Oxnard, California. There are strawberries growing all around me because apparently this is the strawberry capital of the world. They have a festival and that's how they moniker it. I couldn't grow strawberries and couldn't figure out why. Duh. I was watching Millennial Gardener. Shout out to you. I watch you too. And basically I believe I buried the crowns. I think it was Millennial Gardener that taught me that. But you can't bury the crowns of a strawberry. If you bury the crowns of a strawberry, you won't get strawberries. Your strawberry plants will die like this until you figure it out. And when you figure it out, you'll get living live plant material again. So this is where the crown is. It's the little central leaves that grow. It's the heart, if you will, of the plant. And if you, the lungs, because if you smother it, it can't breathe and it dies. And that's what was happening. I had like 4 or 5 strawberry plants. They're ever bearing strawberries. I was just going to give them up, but I'm keeping them because I believe that I can get them to grow in this tower. And if I can get them to grow in this tower, I am going to make delicious puree, and I'm going to use that strawberry. Over here, we have aloe because I'm a natural hair girly and I need to be able to make hair care products. And we have pollinators to help us. We have pollinator attracting plants to help us bring pollinators up here because the world revolves around pollinators. It is nearly impossible to grow and fertilize food without pollinators. You need to be able to spread the pollen, otherwise you've got to be the pollinator spreading pollen. And I don't know how to go into a flower and suck out nectar and make another flower. That's not a gift that I have, but it's a gift pollinators have. So we're going to attract them to my garden so that they can do that for us. So right now I have some snap dragon seedlings that I put in here. I put some seeds in here too, but the seeds didn't really do much. It's in I think that's a 5 gallon grow bag, and it's full. And I'll talk to you about my plant mix that I use a little bit later. Over here I have an olive tree. This olive tree will give me black olives, which can be pressed, cold pressed into olive oil. I wanted to get this plant because right outside of Trader Joe's, and it was like $10, and I love marinated olives. When I went to Italy a few years back, I had some delicious marinated olives, and I'm dying to make some of those again. And so I'm excited to have that plant, and it has grown so much. It used to be on the back patio balcony, but it wasn't doing really well. But since I moved it over here, it's really hit its stride. We have some gladiolas. I had some bulbs, and as you can see, it just started coming up. I planted these gladiola bulbs on the 25th of October, and they're already up. How cool is that? They were probably the quickest sprouting bulbs that I have and that I planted, because I planted these crocus bulbs because I've never tried saffron and thought, oh, I might like saffron, so I'm gonna get some saffron. So I planted the gladiolas. I put in the refrigerator. I don't know if I needed to, but I needed a place to keep them so that they wouldn't sprout too soon, so I had them in the refrigerator. Maybe I needed to do that, I don't know. But the gladiolas, crocus, saffron crocus bulbs, it took them forever. I planted this saffron probably at the beginning of September, and it just now popped up this week, and it has really been doing the most. Over here we have 2 rose bushes. This is a pink peace rose bush that is in a 15-gallon container with an Oya all its own, and this one is a white and pink striped rose. I don't know what kind of rose it is. It doesn't say. If you know, let me know in the comments. And it has an Oya, and they're both planted in 15-gallon bags. I am all about the senses. These roses are not just beautiful, so they don't just treat my eyes. They smell amazing. And, or would it be smell amazingly? They smell amazingly. I think that might be right. And what I like about them is I was looking for a way to replace cut flowers. I love cut flowers. I think they're so beautiful. And I spend a lot of money at Costco on cut flowers, and so I was like, wouldn't it be lovely to make my own cut flowers? And so I bought these roses, but I wanted them to smell nice, because when they were done being beautiful, I wanted to take them and maybe make rose water, or take them and have them make sachets for my clothes, my drawers, or just be around the house being a rose, smelling beautiful. And so I'm happy to have these. I also had I took a russet potato that had gone to seed, and I read that you need 2 to 3 ounces of potato material that has chitted. And so I took that one potato, cut it up into 3 or 4 potatoes, and planted them in a 10-pound potato bag, and they have been growing since the 15th of September. And look what I got, potatoes, y'all. I also have spinach, because why not put a little spinach in there too? I have spinach because why not put a little spinach in there too? But I had 2 kinds of spinach. This one's Oceanside, and I believe this one's Bloomsdale. And my potatoes are nearing the end of their life, and I'll get to harvest them soon. I can't wait to share that with everybody. So over here I have I think this is a sweet potato vine, and it gets flowers every day. It gives me new flowers, but once the flowers bloom, they're done. They die. And so you hope for all of these little flowers. They don't bloom all at once. They're blooming all on their own, one at a time. And then I have a fern, and these were old plants that I put into a pot, and they just died. This is probably year 2 that I've had these, and They just came back this year, probably because I started paying attention to them. I think it is that I started paying attention to them. My bad. This is an old aloe plant, which is pretty cool. I tend to frequent this place called Restore, and what Restore is a thrift store. You donate the stuff for thrift, and then they make money off of it, and the money goes to Habitat for Humanity, and it helps provide housing for people. And so I bought that aloe plant from Restore for like $1, and it's interesting, and I need to put it in a pot that is as interesting as it is. I'm not sure how to use it or if it's just supposed to be ornamental, but that's what I have. So that's that. More pollinators. I have marigold, and I found the coolest thing about marigolds. I was watching In the Garden with Angela, right? Like Growing in the Garden. She's an influencer. Her garden's in Mesa, Arizona, and she gardens in zone 10B or 9B, whichever one Mesa, Arizona is, but she harvests seeds. And basically you take an old marigold and you take the dead heads, and I don't know if you can see that, has it? But these are the seeds from the marigold. So if you harvest these and you plant them, you can get more marigolds, which they do a pretty good job of they're a companion plant, so there's an aroma, I guess, that repels certain pests, but they also bring pollinators in. Correct me if I'm wrong. I also have lavender growing. This lavender I bought from a plant, and it is French lavender, I believe, and then I planted English lavender from seed, and it grew, so I stuck it in this pot. This is a 5-gallon grow bag. Over here, this planter is one of my favorite planters. It has in it, it is so lush and so green, and it has carrots, and these are not just any carrot, mind you, Nene. These carrots are red. I'm gonna have some red carrots, and it's fall, and from what I've read and what I've watched on YouTube, if you grow brassicas and carrots, I don't think carrots are a brassica, it's a root crop. If you grow them in the fall, they're sweeter. So in that pot, I have beets, I have some spinach, which you can't see. I have carrots, and I have onions. I have bunching onions in there. And the beets, I have red ones, Detroit red, and I have orange Golden Boy yellow beets. Now, I went to a farmer's market, and the guy that he got me to buy some stuff, and he let me taste a little bit of tea sweetened with some beet sugar, and I could have sworn the beet sugar he used was red. So I was like, oh, I'll make 2 different kinds of beet sugar with my beets. Yay, me. No, you don't make beet sugar out of these beets. You make beet sugar out of sugar beets. But I'm new to this, so I didn't know that. So I have a whole bunch of beets. I didn't know if I like beets, but we're going to try these beets. We're going to pickle them. We're going to roast them. We're going to do all the things because I grew them, and I'm not going to be wasteful. That's the whole point. I am being intentional about the food that I take in, and I'm being intentional about how I spend my money and how I spend my time. And this is very relaxing for me, but it is also intended. This is my micro homestead, so I'm supposed to be eating this stuff. So I'm looking for ways to replace things that I spend money on in my micro homestead, and so, or my boutique homestead. You guys tell me which one sounds better, a micro homestead or a boutique homestead, because quite frankly, I've seen homesteads, and while I am very grateful that I have what I have, it's not the same as a proper homestead, but I'm enjoying myself, and I'm enjoying what I pull out of it. And today we're a micro homestead. Who knows what will be tomorrow? So moving, I have hollyhocks growing again in this is a 10-pound bag, and they have their own Oya. Actually, this is a 5-pound bag, and they have their own Oya. This is also a 5-pound bag, and this is stevia. For those of you who don't know, stevia is a sweetener, right? And so I tasted the leaves and they are sweet. They have a little bit of a taste. I wouldn't say an aftertaste, but you know that you just ate a stevia leaf. And but you know that you just ate a stevia leaf. And if you haven't eaten one, try it. It's weird. And so I have a whole bunch of things for tea. So what I plan to do with the stevia is I'm going to make a sweetener out of the stevia. And I'm also going to take it and make teas with my stuff that I'm growing for tea and put the stevia in it, so that you just add the hot water and bam, Bob's your uncle, and you've got sweetened tea. Yummy. Here I have a dragon fruit plant, and as you can see, I'm getting a new base is coming. When I purchased it, it had these two and this long stem, and that was it. This long stem, and that was it. Since I've had it, this is new. I thought maybe it was a flower, but my research tells me it's another one of these, which can be taken off and made into another plant in case you wanted another plant or needed another plant. But it also growth. This whole piece is brand new. From here to here is brand new, which means that each one of these spines has the potential to make a dragon fruit bloom, which would be a dragon fruit. That's pretty dope. I don't even know if I like dragon fruit, but I'm gonna eat this dragon fruit. Why? Because I grew it myself. So the last thing we're going to talk about, and if you've seen any of my videos, then you've seen Miss Weaver. So Miss Weaver was an orb weaver. She was a big old spider, and she was eating all of the pests and protecting my garden. She was scary, super scary. And I needed to get into my green stalks. So what I did was I moved her web, and she didn't build it back. So I think Miss Weaver is done with me. So I'm going to show you the piece de resistance, which is I call her my prima. This is my prima green stalk. This is my prima green stalk. She is beige basket weave with the green stalk top. And I have the rotating base on both of them, actually, because I have to be able to spin them around. So I have the spinner and the wheels on it at the bottom on both of them. Fun fact, the spinner with the wheels, which you need if you're on a balcony because it collects water, and it has a hose so that you can pour it down the drains, cost more than the green stalks when they were on sale. That spinner and that base, $60 a piece. What? Cost the same. Now, the prima, I didn't buy her on sale. I bought her full price, and so it was what it was. But Noir over there, I bought Noir on sale. That 5-tier green stock on the warehouse sale for $67. The base was $60 plus tax. So it was kind of a wash, but I'm so happy that I have it. So growing in this green stock, wonderful kale. I'm letting my lettuce go to seed because I want to collect these seeds. Plus I like the fact that the birds and the pollinators are enjoying those seeds. I have thyme growing. I thought this was celery, I thought this was parsley at first. It's celery, not parsley. I also have dill that's gone to seed, and the reason that I still have it is because I am trying to attract as many pollinators as I possibly can. But as you can see, I need to get in here and do something. I have some bergamot growing in here, which is being choked out by the dinosaur kale, which is thriving. And then I have sage, lemon balm, collards. I have sunflower. I have corn that is growing, just now starting to get silks. I have carrots in there. I have a cabbage in there, marigolds, more broccoli. The brassicas are represented for sure. I've got cabbages growing down low and Brussels sprouts. I do have some pest pressure, but again, more greens, more brassicas. I do have some pest pressure, but I watch Asia on Yellow Door Homestead. I follow her and I find her particularly inspirational growing in her backyard. She is such a belle and I am a fan. But she's the one that taught me, just because the plants lose leaves, if you've got leaves in the middle, see what happens. It's your garden. And so I did that, and some of those brassicas are actually coming back. So today I'm going to end this with the following. Much for spending some of your day with me. You have no idea how much that means to me. I find gardening to be very peaceful, very rewarding, and I look forward to sharing what I'm learning with others who also are looking for, you know, that kind of peace and that kind of zen. More importantly, I really enjoy being in my spaces. These spaces allow me to be outside. It allows me to I don't know, connect with the things that I'm doing, with the things that I'm growing, to nurture them, and they do taste better than the stuff that I can get in the market. And what else is great is I can plant and grow whatever I'm willing to plant and grow. So there may be things that I can get. Purple Brussels sprouts. I didn't even know you could get purple Brussels sprouts. Herbs, beans, things that you want to try, different varieties. A seed packet can cost you they can cost you all the way up to, I think the most expensive seed packet I've seen for one crop has been like $5. Maybe they get higher, I don't know. But seeds, you can plant them, you can watch them grow, you can learn the plant, you can enjoy the plant when it's finished, you can enjoy the aromas, the scents, all of it. It is so worth it. So if all you have is a windowsill, grow something on that windowsill. If all you have is a small space and you don't know where to begin, pick the thing that you enjoy eating the most and try and grow that. So I am Dee, and you have reached Define Channel, and I am so happy that you were here. And I just ask that you go out into the world and spread nothing but positive energy, because the world could use a little bit more positive energy. And that's it for today. I'm Denise. Thank you for sharing some of your day with me. Goodbye.